Hi, my dear Astro family. So today we are going to be looking at an interesting topic, and that's going to be Pluto in Synastry. The reason why I wanted to teach you is because I will be launching a course on Synastry, and it's starting on 6th of December, 4 p.m. Budapest, Hungary time. And what we will be covering in this course is very much about understanding your relationship patterns. We're going to be looking at the basics of synastry, house overlays in synastry, aspects in synastry, and different type of timing techniques in synastry as well. And I'm going to be teaching you some ways, simple ways of looking at the compatibility of two people. And remembering that synastry is actually not just about love stories, but you can do synastry with any people you want to, but we're going to have to be looking at those people in a different way. So if this is something that you are interested in, I kind of urge you to look at it on my website, AstroViktor.com. The title of this course is The Art of Synastry. It's going to be minimum 10 weeks, but possibly it might be 12 weeks. And the reason being is because I will be giving extra bits and bobs here. You're going to get some bonus classes as well that I have already recorded so that you can have the full picture. Now, without any further ado, let's get started. Pluto in synastry. A little bit of a reminder, I'm not going to be talking about typically, each configuration, okay? So I'm not going to be describing you what it means to have Pluto and Venus and Pluto and the Sun and so forth. I'm just going to be giving you a general description. So first of all, what is Pluto? Pluto is quite a mystic planet, really. And sometimes it could bring a lot of turbulence to the mind. And the reason being is because it represents power, transformation, rebirth, regeneration, but also darkness. This is the subconscious mind to a certain extent. And it can represent bonding as well as obsessions at the same time. Often with Pluto, there is something that we do not know. It's pretty much of a secret, but it gets revealed at one point. And often the reason why we do not know something is because we fear it. So Pluto can represent, in a way, wherever Pluto is in your chart, it kind of like shows where you want to have to gain power, but also what area of life you might feel completely powerless. And the reason why it's a little bit difficult is because when you do not know something, it's kind of hard to control it, hard to have a power over it. So that's the reason why we're going to have to be doing a lot of research wherever Pluto is in our chart, so that obviously the more we know about something, the better we become at it. And then it's not a fear, it's not a kind of like subconscious blind spot anymore in our chart. So we're going to have to become aware of the plutonian part of our chart, and we do have to master that bit. Pluto in the birth chart represents where you might feel kind of like compulsive, where you want to kind of find power, where you might have got self-destructive tendencies as well. Obviously, remember that power is something that people tend to be craving for. We want to be accumulating as much power as possible. But having power could be also self-destructive as well. So, for example, let's imagine that you have got, I don't know, Pluto in the seventh house. Then maybe what happens is that either I am trying to control my partner, or I'm going to be attracting abusive, control freak partners all the time. Or the partner that I have has got certain type of secrets and around they are surrounded somehow with darkness. Also, it could indicate that they have got a lot of power at hand as well, but they might be kind of like overusing that. They might try to compel us somehow. Now, how Pluto works in synastry. Well, first of all, very important if you're Pluto or you have got a personal planet that is connected to Pluto of someone else. And it could be obviously impacted in two ways. Now, if you do not know what synastry is, basically you place a two planetary chart on top of each other, and then you focus especially on conjunctions, squares, and oppositions. And I've given you a couple of keywords to think about when it comes to Pluto, right? So power, obsessiveness, bonding, and so forth. So it's not always bad actually to have a Pluto aspect, especially if we use the bonding element to it. Yes, definitely that relationship can feel quite karmic in a way because this is an outer planet that we talk about, and Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio, and the water signs are quite karmic overall. So it could feel karmic to start with, because it is somehow the part of our subconscious mind, the desire for power. Um, Therefore, one of the things that I would say that Pluto in Synastry, what it will do is that it will bring you some type of crisis situations into the relationship to kind of like act as an agent of awakening. And yes, with Pluto, we're going to have to be looking at our psychological complexes. We're going to have to do the shadow work with it. And the reason why there is going to be certain type of conflict in the relationship is because it is trying to get you to understand your own fears and in a way the past better. If we say that Pluto is Hades, the lord of underworld, that something needs to be brought out or up from the underworld. So, how the plutonian person will feel in that synastry chart, because let's suppose that you have got a Pluto and Venus combination. So your partner's Pluto is connecting to your Venus. How they will feel? Well, Pluto, first of all, is going to have kind of like a feeling that they want to own you. They want to show you how much power they have. They are going to be very attached to Venus. So they might be very attached to having sex with you. They are very attached to making you look beautiful and to your body and so forth. Sometimes Pluto is kind of like intoxicating. Sometimes it's an unbearable type of energy. It is kind of like when it tells you that you must do something Venusian because it pleases their eyes. They might become very devoted to you, and also they want to be bonding you all the time through Venusian activities, which is, I don't know, parties, beauty, love, intimacy, and so forth. Remember, you're going to have to be looking at Pluto as in what level of that Plutonian traits they are on. Because, first of all, it might be the self-destructive one, or it could be the introspective Pluto as well. So each planet has got their positive and negative sides, and it highly depends on the person which one they use. Also, maybe the Plutonian person is going to be very afraid of losing Venus somehow. Therefore, they might be coming up with certain type of strategies to kind of control this situation, and therefore it could be a scenario where they do not let you go to a party because Venus loves party. Venus loves making connections. For example, imagine that Venus is in your 11th house, so you love hanging around with your friends, and then Pluto triggers that by synastry. So it could indicate that they are not going to let you go out with your friends because they will show certain type of jealousies. And there is a subconscious underlying kind of like vulnerability going on with that It's a karmic acting out. So someone took away their power at one point, and this is the reason why they are trying to hold on to you, especially if that Venus is in fixed signs, which are Taurus, Aquarius, Leo, or Scorpio. Also, Pluto will want Venus to kind of like validate them all the time, to empower them how good they are, and so forth. And don't get me wrong, Pluto will be doing the opposite. I mean, Pluto is going to be doing the same as well towards Venus. Now, how the planet is going to feel in that particular relationship. So, in this example that we are talking about, how will Venus feel about it? Well, most likely Venus is going to be quite mesmerized at the beginning of the relationship, like that Pluto is almighty and such powerful person, and somehow I need to be with Pluto. I cannot run away from Pluto. And Pluto will be showing as well to Venus how much power actually it has got. They're going to be playing the role of that almighty type of person, especially if Pluto is connected to Jupiter as well at the same time. It's kind of like, when Venus feels like that someone, someone what's the saying I'm looking for actually? Kind of like, Pluto represents the cobweb. So it's kind of like the fly got stuck in the cobweb, or it's the mice who got stuck to the honey in the jar. It's kind of like a beautiful death. Sometimes Venus will know, or any planet will know, that actually this Plutonian person is a danger to me, but I cannot walk away from it. I have to be staying there. And especially if that planet is a planet that loves the idea of power, then it's going to be something like, a beautiful flower that smells even great. Also, the planet might start after a while to feel the other person very intense. So intense, and it could be positive from a sexual point of view, but also it could be highly challenging as well, because you might feel that they want to be checking your phone, they want to be controlling you. You might feel like that you cannot shake this person off, and maybe they're going to be stalking you and phoning up your parents without your permission and so forth to get to know where you were, and so on. Now, it highly depends on the planet, whether it's in a water sign, for example, who is going to keep quiet after a while. But if that personal planet is connected to Mars, this is going to be let's imagine that Pluto conjuncts Venus, but it is making a square or to Mars, or an opposition to Mars. After a while, there is going to be a boiling point, and this intensity is going to make you feel scared. And that could be kind of like the third stage of that personal planet getting in touch with Pluto, that I'm extremely scared. And I'm trying to kind of walk away from this situationship. But this Pluto is stalking me, coming after me, bugging me. And then, it could even lead to kind of like getting a restraining order. But I'm talking about really the extremes here, of course. So that, in this example, Venus can feel like that Pluto is obsessed with me, and I'm afraid, I'm scared. Also, this could feel like that someone is trying to undermine me, overpower me, trying to influence me, manipulate me somehow. And in a way, kind of like, when they are invading your privacy. So they're going to be opening up your letters, or they don't let you go to the toilet even on your own, because there is a tremendous amount of jealousy going on there. So, it usually starts extremely nicely, and then after a while, kind of like the shadow side of Pluto will get revealed. So these are some of the I would call some of the challenging part of Pluto and the personal planet getting connected in a couple's chart. There are, in a way, positive stuff to talk about as well, because Pluto is the planet of healing too. So maybe that Pluto will be bringing you certain type of healing to that planet. So, for example, in this example, Venus, who might be struggling with confidence level, and then Pluto comes around, who is trying to give you, um, in a way, empowerment. And they're going to give you that certain type of validation that you need. So it's not always about bad stuff, but think about the other keywords that I've given to you. Because at the end of the day, Pluto is a difficult one. Usually it destroys and wants something to be rebuilt. So often I see with Pluto as well, actually, that subtle changes in the relationship is not actually enough. We're going to need a major turnaround. So I'm going to give you an example here because I've seen a few times that the habits had to be changed in order for that relationship to be working, for example. So someone who had drug issues and alcohol issues, and then in the last 5, 10 years, they kind of gave up on all those type of stuff. So they managed to kind of get the motivation, their mojo back in life. And then since then, the relationship works way better. But that was something that pushed the relationship to the edges. So there is always a little bit of a darkness going on in the subconscious of Pluto, which gets projected onto the personal planet the of the couple, of course. However, Pluto can be giving a lot of power to that personal planet as well. So I would say that, because let's say if it's a conjunction, the two planets become one. So I don't know, for example, that Venus rules your second house. So Pluto can kind of like your finances and their finances become one, and together you guys can even magnify that further. So that's kind of like the beauty of Pluto. What aspects would I pay attention to? On one hand, I wouldn't be necessarily looking at like Pluto conjunct Pluto or Pluto conjunct Neptune, because these could be quite generational. And on a personal level, maybe you won't be able to kind of see them. So to summarize, possessive nature of Pluto that could lead to conflicts. So we're gonna need certain type of boundaries here. Um, Also, this could be kind of like the domination, where someone is over dominating you, over domineering, and maybe you're gonna have to be very clear from the beginning that you do not want to be controlled by your partner. Also, the other big keyword is that the plutonian person has to get over their past issues. So, which I have already kind of spoken about, but there is some karmic closure or clearance that Pluto has to have, especially if that relationship is not going way too well, because it means that they are projecting that onto you. And of course, because Pluto is also the planet of transformation, they can be transforming that personal planet in your life for the better or for the worse. So guys, I hope this video helps. This is a shorter one, and I hope to see you on my Synastry class. Take care. Bye-bye.